Okay. Good evening. It's 7:30, and I herewith call to order the City of Gaithersburg's August 24th, 2016 meeting of the Historic District Commission. And I'd like to start with a roll call on my left, if I may.
Mary Jo LaFrance.
Trudy Schwartz, Community Planning Manager.
I guess that calls us the far left. Frank Johnson, Assistant City Attorney.
In these political times, I will not touch that.
Yes, sir.
Mary Jo LaFrance, in order.
Chris Kurtz.
John Roddy.
Mark Feinstein.
Dean Ventola.
Chris Berger.
We do have a quorum, but it is with great pleasure we have the return of our vice chair. We had some medical issues, but nothing can keep a good man down. There's a preliminary statement I'd like to read before we get into the agenda. This commission is empowered to meet and act under Article 12 of the City Code of Gaithersburg. The technical qualifications of the staff of this commission and the members of the commission are on file with the City of Gaithersburg, are available on request to any applicant, and are hereby made a part of the legal record of each and every application heard this evening. Each application heard is considered on its own merit and is not to be considered as establishing a precedent for any other application. Okay, that said, let me move to the agenda, and the first order of business is approval of the June 22nd minutes. Commissioners, have you had a chance to look? Mm-hmm. What is your pleasure?
I move that we approve the minutes for June 22nd, 2016.
Have we a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I have to abstain. I wasn't here.
I too. So, Chris, would you? Okay, John and I were not present. Very well. The first substantive order of business is a historic work permit review for 114 Meem Avenue. And Chris, have you
Yes, I do have a presentation. The subject building at 114 Meem Avenue is contributing to the Chestnut Meem Historic District. The one-story bungalow was built circa 1937 and is known as the Cole Ward House. It appears to be an example of the Crafton, a Sears and Roebuck catalog house available from 1932 to 1939. According to Section 24-227A of the City Code, a historic area work permit is required for work on a designated historic resource. The Chestnut Meem Historic District guidelines also apply. Since the staff report was published, the applicant has agreed to withdraw the proposed replacement of the basement windows and addition of window wells in order to work with staff on minimizing the effect to the building. But we would still like your input at this meeting on the basement windows and window wells, so the applicant is well prepared when they return to the HDC at a future meeting.
got it?
So with the withdrawal of those two work items, the project now includes 3 work items. The first is the retroactive review of the first floor windows. The second is the retroactive review of the front porch handrail. And the third is the proposed addition of a fence. The first item for the retroactive review of the 13 vinyl sash windows that were installed last month. The windows replaced the original 6/1 wood windows. The applicant, Edith Flores, recently purchased the property with her husband, Edgar Gonzalez. In an appraisal report dated July 7th, the appraiser wrote, and I'm quoting this line over here, the subject requires all new windows. Current windows are taped, have plastic on them, and are dry rotted. In addition, photos of some of the windows were included in the appraisal report. According to Ms. Flores, her real estate agent sent her the number to the Montgomery County Planning Department, so Ms. Flores could inquire about the historic status of the property. The person at the county said that the property was not locally designated, and Ms. Flores was not told to contact the City of Gaithersburg. Based on this information, the applicant replaced the windows without a historic area work permit. I numbered each of the 13 windows in the report. So this is window 1 on the south or front elevation. It's a 4/4 vinyl window. And window 2 is a 6/6 window. On the west elevation, window 3 is 6/6, window 4 in the middle is 4/4, and window 5 is 1/1. On the north or rear elevation, windows 6 and 7 are both 1/1 windows. And on the east elevation, windows 8 and 9 are both 1/1, and windows 10 through 13 are all 6/6s. Moving on to the second work item, the retroactive review of the wood front porch handrail. Again, the applicant was not aware the house was designated before the change was made. There was no railing on the front porch before this one was added. And here's another view of the new wood handrail. The last work item for review is the addition of a fence, and it would go at the back property line along the railroad tracks here. The proposed fence will be board-on-board and made of wood. It will measure approximately 95 feet long and will abut existing fences to the east and west of 114 Meem Avenue. And this is what the backyard looks like now. And here's a closer view. This is the existing wire fence, which you can see has seen better days. The proposed fence meets the standards for fences in the Chestnut Meem Historic District guidelines. And this is a proposed, what the applicant provided, a proposed look at the board-on-board fence. And here are the Chestnut Meem guidelines for fences. And as you can see, it meets those requirements. Now, I could stop here and let you discuss and vote on those 3 work items, or I can keep going and present on the basement windows and the window wells at this time, if you would like.
Let me, unless other commissioners disagree, I think since you'll be working with staff, the applicants will be working with staff and you with them, we ought to stop here. But I do want to do, is that okay with you? But I do want to check, do we have any, I know you live on me, do we have any conflicts of interest in reviewing this proposal?
I actually live on Chestnut Street, but I do
Chestnut, I'm
live
sorry.
in the historic district.
Gotcha.
So I can
Gotcha.
say that.
Thank you. And are the
So,
applicants here?
yeah, I'd like to introduce the applicants, Edith Flores and Edgar Gonzalez, and they're going to be assisted by Jennifer Armour, who is in the
Right.
Planning and Code Administration in case they need any kind of translation. So I asked them
Okay.
to come sit at the desk here.
Hola, that's as far as I go.
Yeah.
Déjenme saber si necesita algo, ¿ok?
So I'll ask everybody in a minute for their names for the record, but they are invited to say anything they'd like, and they do not have to.
Ok. ¿Te dice lo que digo?
Que estamos...
Que si quiere decir algo que puede hablar. I mean, he's... Por eso.
Oh,
Yeah. Si quiere decir algo a ellos.
no.
Okay.
No, ok. Pero sí que si quiere, déjenme saber, ok. Si no entiende algo.
¿Y señor? ¿Nada?
No, we're clear now.
Okay. Gracias.
I have a question for Mr. Berger, if I might.
Yes, sir.
Are we talking, when we're speaking of railings, are we speaking only of the railings that go down the stairs, or are we speaking of those that also,
No, they only added the handrails along the stairs. The porch railings existed before. They didn't do anything to those.
Right.
thank you.
I also have a question too. When it comes to the fence, my understanding was that board-on-board was,
Hold on, before we, Frank, let me ask you, so I correctly keep the record open, close the record. Do you have any legal guidance here?
As to,
Closing or opening the record?
Not,
at this point, you're creating the record, so I don't want
Gotcha.
you,
Okay.
I wouldn't see you, I wouldn't advise closing anything now.
All right, good.
Because you're in the midst of
you.
considering, and they may present something.
If it's wrong, I can do it, so.
however, one point that the attorney brought up is that we do need the applicants to introduce themselves
Yes,
into the
please.
record
So for the record, could the folks state their name?
and
And
address.
address.
Yeah.
Yep, my name is Edith Flores, and the address is 114 Mim Avenue.
Gotcha, thank you.
My name is Edgar Rodriguez, and I'm her husband.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gracias and felicitación.
Thank you.
And the translator as well?
My name is Jennifer Armour.
Okay, your English is flawless, thank you.
Thank you. Would you like my address as well? I'm not in the city limits.
31
Yes,
South
no,
Summit. Yeah.
I live here.
She works here.
All right,
Yes,
Mary Jo,
Chris,
go
I have
ahead.
a question about the board on board. My
Sure.
understanding was that actually board on board was not allowed in the Chestnut Mim Historic District, only open board on board.
Yeah, it does say open board
So-
on board.
And I have never seen approval for a closed board on board.
We do
because of
have a
that.
similar fence that was approved on Chestnut Street last year. I can't recall the exact address, but it was similar on this. I don't know if if this is not a good representative example, if we looked at it from an angle, if we could see through it, but I'll work with the applicant to try to find an open board-on-board fence.
I know what fence you're talking about, it's across the street,
Yeah.
sort of diagonally, but that did have the lattice opening all along the top.
Okay,
So it was a little bit, it wasn't so stark like
Right.
that. And I think that's the reason why, is the idea of it airy, especially on me, there's no sidewalks, and the whole idea was to keep it like that so that
Right.
everything was wide open. Also,
This
just to-
will be in the back, though,
Yeah,
against the
yeah.
railroad tracks.
And just to clarify too, is it only along the back, which was
yeah,
my next
it is only
question?
along the back. That was the applicant's goal, is just to,
Okay.
they have small children, so they'd like to block out the railroad track as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Mary Jo, while you've got the mic?
Are we going to have discussion?
Well, I thought we- yes,
or
I thought we
there-
would.
I don't have a question
Do
for the
you want to
applicant
ask
this
if there's
time.
anybody out there who wants to?
Oh, yes, thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak to this application in any way? Okay, thank you, and thank you for reminding me. So, John, any thinking on this?
No questions.
Okay, Dean?
Just the fence alone? Or are we starting?
Fence
The whole
Windows.
shooting match.
Okay, starting with the windows, I guess. I'm in agreement with staff recommendations that the windows currently are a bit haphazard, so I think that they should all be consistent when they can be. The larger windows, I agree, should all be 6 by 6. The smaller windows, I think 4x4 sounds fine. I'm hoping that none of these remain as 1 by 1s. For the front railing, does anybody recall if we've ever done PVC railings? Have we ever approved that in any project?
Well, I should add that these railings are wood.
Yeah.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Okay, they look PVC from this photo, so then I have absolutely no issue whatsoever on it. When I'm looking at the Crofton original model, even if there isn't a set of rails on the steps, if they did in fact have them, from the photo I couldn't tell, if they did in fact have them, then I think that they would have done it this way as well, so I don't have any concern whatsoever. And of course, it is a safety factor, so I think we have to approve something for that. And then the fence itself, the idea that since it's going to be up against the railroad, I'm fine with it being as tight as currently shown. I think that it will help reduce some of the noise some. But the more porous the fence is, of course, the more noise that'll come through. And then, of course, any safety for the children, I think the tighter the fence, the better. So really, those are my only comments.
Mark?
Yeah, I think just a general comment to start. This is, I think, the third month in a row that we've had a retroactive approval, that someone's come in with asking for retroactive approval. And it's, and I know we've talked about potentially getting some better documentation in the, when someone buys the house.
We actually, we achieved that.
Yeah.
So, but this may have been, I don't
Prior to
believe the
that, yeah.
form has been finalized, or if it is out there, it's only been very recently.
And I really think it's the level of comfort as we keep seeing these over and over is getting to, okay, this is a one-time only thing, to now it seems like it's a monthly thing, and you almost feel like people are, you don't want to, the worst thing that could happen is people start to think that, okay, let's go ahead and do what we want to do and then ask forgiveness later. And I'm not saying that's the case. It's just, it could be the case for other people who may be watching. And I don't know what the right answer for that, but that's just a general statement. In terms of the suggestions that staff has made, I agree that the windows are already gone, the existing windows, are the windows thrown away, the old windows?
Oh yeah, they were really old and broken, and
Okay.
yeah.
So there's no recovery of that possible. So they're obviously going to be a replacement window. So then it comes down to whether you replace them with the vinyl, allow for the vinyl, or whether you come back with aluminum clad or a wood window or something that's more historically appropriate. And I think definitely the buttons and the way they've been replaced should be changed to match up with what the staff has recommended. And I'm inclined to just leave it at that at this point.
I would like to interject something about retroactive approval. Just for anybody who is watching out there, we have not allowed retroactive approval on many occasions, and that has cost the homeowners who have sought it, that did not comply with the intent of the designs, to replace those things at their own cost. So I suggest that everybody really take care to submit stuff to the HDC, because in the end, it could cost you double.
Good reminder. So anybody that jumps in advance does so at their peril.
It may also be worth noting the record is very clear in explaining what happened here and what the misunderstanding, at least according to the applicants, was. And again, that's laying out a bit of an expectation that if there is a retroactive approval, there should be some explanation for it, that it is an issue that's reviewed.
Yeah.
True, and what's more frustrating about this, what the disservice the realtor gave you is not only is this house in a historic district, but it's actually in the state historic site inventory. So it should not have been missed. Right?
This would have been a good example in our asking the group that prepares these forms, the Greater Capital Area Association of Realtors, to make the change, which they had already agreed to do, though. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And we will also be contacting Montgomery County, their information line. I have to find out who the supervisor is.
Yes.
To find out what kind of records they're looking at. And they should be noting that this is a municipality and they should be transferring it to the city.
Yes.
I would also like the applicant to know, had they come to us beforehand, if they had known, it's likely we would have suggested wood windows as a replacement if the wood windows that currently existed were not repairable. So in the future, you understand what we would be probably asking you to do. It's unfortunate that this has happened again, and we all need to do our due diligence. One of the things we could consider is if an application comes before us, someone wants to replace their vinyl windows with vinyl, and it turns out they should have been wood to start with, we could consider wood on the table for a replacement in the future, so that it can be refurbished the way it should be. That's not exactly a good promise, but it's a direction we could consider.
All right. As is my wont, I will bat last. First, let me start with the fence. Given children, and I know that area well, given the proximity to the railroad, I think the applicant should be supported in having a very secure fence, even if it's not technically pictured as a recommended fence, number one. Number two, please explain to the applicants here, we do not mean in any way to criticize them. They operated in good faith on the information they got. The information was flawed. That said, and I have seen the house as it sits in the surrounding houses. The front railings, I think, were very nicely done and very compatible with the house, very attractive, much better than anything it ever had, including those old metal ones. I differ with staff, and I differ with my fellow commissioners on the windows. Particularly 6, 7, 8, and 9. 6 and 7 are in the rear of the house, and I think almost impossible to see from the street. 8 and 9 are on the side, but near the rear, and I think very difficult to see from the street. Given what these folks have been through, and frankly, they saved a house that was in quite disrepair, I would not require them to replace those windows, perhaps get some fake mullions or something. But again, I have my opinions and my vote, and there are 4 of you, so the majority will ultimately rule. But I think under these circumstances, and yes, they're certainly not what we would have wanted necessarily, but I think there was a good faith effort here to just get some absolutely necessary windows in for replacement purposes. I think if they had the benefit of a courtesy review or anything working with staff, and known in advance, they could have made an effort to get windows that were more compatible at this stage of the game. It's not like they're on the front of the house or prominent, and if you go out there and look at the adjacent houses, they are not exactly models of historicity. So I would be lenient in this case and see if they could perhaps get some mullions to give the appearance of more congruity, 6/6 or 4/4, whatever it is. So that's my thinking. So so should we close the record now? And
Certainly could, if you
okay.
wish to do so.
Well, I think it's time for us to, consider.
Now, again, the record does close automatically once you make a decision either way, so it's entirely.
Okay, well, let's
your call.
leave her, I'm more comfortable with an open record. I mean, to a fault, I think you all have indulged me in bending over perhaps too far backwards to make sure everybody gets a chance, but I don't want anybody to come before this body representing the city and feel they didn't have a chance to say their piece, even if we feel they're long-winded or whatever. So, Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
Since we have I guess, a little bit of a difference of opinion on item number 2 of the staff recommendation, do we want to vote on everything but that and then do that separately so we can, so we have 2 votes?
I'm totally wide open, and as chair, I don't even get to
Sure.
initiate motions. I guess I can second them.
Okay, then I move that we adopt the staff's recommended motion for Historic Area Work Permit HIST 7374-2016 for 114 Meem Avenue. Move that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff report findings and recommendations, approve Historic Area Work Permit HIST 7374-2016, retroactive review of the first floor windows and the front porch handrail in addition of the fence, with the following one condition, and then we'll vote on the second condition as a separate One, that the 4x4 vinyl sash window on the front south elevation shall be replaced with a 6x6 sash window. The 4x4 vinyl sash window on the west elevation shall be replaced with a 6x6 sash window or a 1x1 sash window if a 6x6 is not available. Is that?
Okay, is there a
Do we
second?
have,
I'd second that, but I'd also offer that it meets the standards of the Secretary of the Interior, numbers 9 and 10.
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Nay. All right, so the ayes have it 4-1.
Do you want to make
No.
anything for the second?
The second one, we were gonna, I mean, I vote we adopt that the staff recommendation, but I know there was some objection to that, so. Do you want to, I mean, does anybody else want to do the motion, or do we want to keep?
Go ahead and do the motion.
Okay.
You're on a roll.
All right, I move that we adopt the staff recommendations for the second condition also for windows 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, that they be changed to 6x6 sash windows. If the 6x6 sash windows cannot be reasonably secured, the applicant may replace the windows with 1x1 sashes.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. All right, thank you very much, folks.
Before they go, can we just do a courtesy review on the basement windows
Oh,
and
yes.
the window well?
Sure.
So while
Absolutely.
they're here. So I'll continue where we left off after the fence. And this is a representative example of one of the basement windows. The applicant seeks to replace all 4 of them. There are 2 on the east elevation and 2 on the west elevation. They appear to be metal casement windows.
Yep.
And here's how they look on that west elevation, and here's how they look on that east elevation. The applicant proposes 1 egress window on both the east and west elevations to be located in a window well. But they are open to placing both window wells on one side of the house or the other. The applicant has proposed a vinyl sash window in the window wells that will measure 48 inches by 34 inches wide. And as you can see from this diagram, the size meets the minimum building code requirement for a basement egress window. And the applicant has proposed corrugated metal for the 2 window wells. And here is a photo that they provided of the corrugated metal that they would like to use. And for the 2 other windows that won't have window wells, the applicant proposes to replace them with a vinyl sliding window measuring 24 inches tall and 36 inches wide. And this is the window they propose.
What is the current dimensions of the windows that are there?
I did not measure them, but I think they're significantly smaller than these
Yes.
sliding windows. I would guess that
So
they're...
that would change, very much so, change where the foundation here and everything meets with the siding of the house.
I
Does
would
the
guess that
applicant
they're...
know what the size of the windows are? How tall?
It's
Width
about
mostly.
33 inches wide by 1 foot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Chris, has staff had an opportunity to look at other options for this that would not so much change the size of the windows?
As I proposed originally in the report, I think we need more evidence about the condition about the
Yeah.
basement windows before replacing the 2 that won't be egress windows. Perhaps they can be repaired. And also, we would favor putting both window wells on one side, probably the east elevation, instead of the elevation I have on the screen here is the west elevation.
Right, the one that's less likely to be seen from this road.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Now you're talking about major changes if you change the window size, and that's something I would have trouble supporting.
Well,
That's
one-
why we're doing a courtesy
It's a major change for
review.
both scenarios with the egress window also.
Yeah.
One thing is with the window well, really, if you're walking past the house, you'll really only see the top part of the window. These pictures were certainly taken while Chris was with the applicant and close into the house. But I think from the street, you need to remember that probably only the tops of the window would be visible.
But the window
But
well itself is going to be, I don't think you can do the window well that's being shown there and proposed from a code standpoint needs to be able to be
Right, the
egressable, so it's
egress.
going to be a lot bigger.
Right.
Taller
But
as well as
it's taller,
deeper.
but usually it's not so much taller, but deeper down into the ground.
Right,
to
and
have a
also big enough that you can-
Wider,
To have the
that's what I meant.
steps to get up out.
Yeah, it looks like for a sash window, it would have to be at least 48 inches long.
And then the depth from the house. My guess is that it will not meet code. So,
And we would certainly work with them to,
Yeah.
So, but from our standpoint, from our analysis of whether, our courtesy review, we should take that into consideration. It's not just going to be a standard metal window well, it's going to be a much bigger obstruction into the ground.
And this is because they desire to have a living area downstairs.
I
Probably a
believe so.
A
yeah.
bedroom, a
A
bedroom.
bedroom, I believe.
yeah.
Is there any way to to introduce a window into the rear of the house? That could be an egress window?
The rear is the stair for the basement.
No?
Yeah.
Okay, so there already is a stair down, okay.
Yeah.
There's a stair. You can't see it. It's blocked by the truck, but it's right over
Oh,
here.
yeah, where it goes down, I remember this now. It's a cement wall,
Yeah.
and you go down the stairs into the house.
I will go out on site with a building inspector and we'll pursue that option and see if it is viable.
Because if a window could be added in the stairway, it wouldn't be seen, it's on the back of the house, that could be an option.
Well, there is already a window, unless is that a screen that's leaning
That's
against
just
the
a
house?
No, it's just a screen.
Okay.
Would that work for your layouts down in the basement?
I'm sorry?
Would that work for what you're looking to do from a layout standpoint in the basement? From the interior,
To
where
put a
where
window-
you're located, where you want to locate the bedrooms?
It might actually be too close to the
Yeah.
first, the initial exit area,
Mhm.
because they have that exit, and then the secondary one has to be in the actual room,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, I just don't know how you plan it. I mean, it would be helpful when you come before us again to have a floor plan of what your basement
That's a
is
good idea.
proposed
Yeah.
to be. That way we can understand it.
I have a couple thoughts. The the window well areaway is going to be much bigger than you're currently imagining. So that design is going to be important for you to bring to us. But I'm believing that it can be done architecturally very pleasing if you keep it low profile and you put shrubs, vegetation on the front and the front side of it. Then we wouldn't see it from the front of the road, and that would be, in my opinion, very acceptable. As far as the current windows on the other side that are the smaller, the 12 inches by 33 inches, I guess they're either hoppers or awnings. My guess is if they are operable, usually something like that's a hopper, but regardless, if you can refurbish them and get them to work properly, that by all means is everybody's thoughts, a recommendation here. But I have a big concern on the slide-bys that you have proposed. Visually, they're not really that much in keeping with your property, but if you did vegetation in front of it, I couldn't argue too much. But what I'm really getting at is slide-bys don't really prevent water from coming in. They don't lock water out. So if you have high snow in this low area, you'll get leakage. The water will leak in. So that's not a big concern of ours, but of course it's probably a concern of yours. But I think visually, if you can get the windows to work as they are or replace them with an awning or a hopper, whatever currently it is. Awnings pivot out hoppers pivot in. So whatever you currently have, if you can replace that existing, we of course would prefer that.
¿Tú dices?
Chris, can you bring up my,
Sure.
Ventanas, eso, él dice que lo puede hacer, pero quiere que tiene como...
I'm number 11.
Sí, porque mandan cosas para que no
I
se
just
vean.
happened to pull this up
Pero
because I was
esa
looking to see what the size of it.
tenemos como
But the
un slide, y
interesting
dice que el agua va a entrar a
thing
la
with
casa.
this
Si lo dejas
is that
así,
it looks
solo
like they
quiere que
kept an original
pongan
window
money
and then
y
put the new
que
window
pongan la
below grade.
Trudy, you just touched on exactly what I was thinking in my head, because visually, and then we're talking about very close, flush to the ground. Certainly
Right.
plantings could still be added. This is along the lines of what I'm imagining.
Wow.
Can
Thank
you
you,
look at the
Trudy.
screen?
Trudy, that's
Yeah.
genius. Chris?
This, they were
They're
getting
still
clarification from Jenny. This example that I'm showing you actually keeps the existing window and then puts the egress window below grade, which would, kind of be the best of both worlds.
Could save you a lot of money, depending on how much those windows cost.
So, this window well that is being shown as an egress with a ladder. So we can talk with the inspectors when we come out and, or when Chris comes out, the best things to do that,
Okay.
so.
I think it's a great idea.
The idea is that
And
it
you
would
could-
visually look
Trudy,
like
you're a
it's
genius.
supposed
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
Internet's a genius.
The internet. Let's hear it for Google.
Este
I
ventana
love Google.
que tiene, lo que ellos demostraron, que tiene la ventana
Dee, did you have anything to add, or John?
queda en el cuarto.
Sí, va a quedar, para eso necesita el escape window.
Exacto, porque por la ley, y yo solo sé esto porque trabajo con permisos, tiene que tener meters cuando
Totally
adentro de
different.
cada cuarto.
Yeah.
So,
I
si
thought it
ellos-
preserves the original, and you could always put it back, put the wall back, because it was never changed.
That is, no, I gonna, offline, I'm gonna have Chris send me that, because this could be a solution for property I own at 21 Maryland.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
great.
Okay, I can't improve on what Dean Ventola said. I think all his suggestions are wise ones. I own a house very nearby with those windows. I guess they're the hopper windows because they open in, but you might have to fiddle with them a little bit, but if you can make them work, you're way ahead. And then Trudy, the example you showed certainly looks very functional. Again, I don't know the price range of it or what the needs of the applicant are, but I would be exploring that to see how much it is, because in the long run, you might save yourself time and money. And then a couple of bushes, or just even in front on the street side, and you're set.
Excellent.
All right, anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to offer one further comment.
Sure.
And that has to do with the people who may be reluctant to deal with the government itself.
Ah,
I think this is a very good example that sometimes even the government might have a good suggestion that could help you. We have a wide variety of backgrounds and experiences up here. There are a number of ways we've looked at things, and we can actually make some intelligent suggestions.
well said. You're getting some expert advice from architects, you're getting some expert advice from a neighbor, and some not so bad advice from a couple of retired government lawyers. But we live in old houses and love them and have fiddled with them forever, so. All right, anything else?
No,
All
that's
right,
all.
thank you
finished.
so much. Gracias, muy gracias.
Thank you.
All right. Well, while we're in the courtesy review mood, why don't we lead to 11 Cedar Avenue?
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if the commission has met one of our able staff members, Jasmine Forbes, who is in the middle seat there.
Last
She's-
time was here
she's,
was
one of our
2014,
planners.
so it's been a while.
Welcome, welcome. My goodness, welcome. Thank you for joining this
A newbie.
able staff.
All right, so good evening.
Good evening.
This is a courtesy review for the property located at 11 Cedar Avenue. The reason why we're bringing this application for HDC this evening, because the property is located in the Observatory Heights courtesy review area. So the applicant is requesting to construct a 1,250 square foot second-story addition and a new driveway into the existing house. The existing building is a 1,056 square foot, one-story gable house built circa 1947. The building facade is clad in stucco in all the elevations on the building, and an attic gable clad with a vinyl clapboard. In the rear of the house, the building facade is clad in vinyl clapboard, and one section is clad in stucco. The roof is clad with composition shingles. Staff this evening is requesting that HDC conduct a courtesy review of the proposed amendment to final site plan application and make recommendations. And recommendations that you made this evening would be delivered to Plan Commission via memorandum to be included for the staff's comments, and that's where Plan Commission will make the final approval. So this evening I have Ansu Javid, who's the architect, and Ruben Salazar, who's the homeowner, to present the application for you guys.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, it's a courtesy review, so I don't think it's necessary to check for conflicts. So, is there anything else, Jasmine, you want to walk through, or should we jump in?
I was going to give
He's
the
going to give a
architect
presentation.
chance to-
Oh, good.
The applicant.
Hello, I'm John Garib. I'm the architect on the job. And we try to, in the owner's request, we try to put a second floor on this one-story building. I try to respect the environment and the character of the community, especially as a historic district. So we are designed it according to that purpose. So I think we came up with a nice, clean design in all four sides to accommodate the needs of the owner and also the character of the community. And we can show you the four elevation. This is the entrance, which we made it so it looks like, you know, exactly the same like other buildings, you know, similar to other buildings that in the area. I kept the stucco part, which is, you know, we have to renew it and clean it up. But in the second floor, I put the vinyl siding, so make it look like the rest of the community there. This is the rear of the building, which is a family room and rear entrance and a master bedroom upstairs with the railing and balcony. And on the right side is the family room with those, that part is existing. So we're just changing the windows because all the windows are old and not efficient, energy efficient. And we like to have the whole building have the harmony, set all the windows are the same rather than keep some of the old ones. We're replacing all the windows so they all have the same character. On the side, the windows you see in the first floor and the basement are there. We're just replacing the windows. The three windows you see at the top is the new ones. And you see the balcony and the same thing this side. Only that upper floor is a new, brand new, with a loft. I added a nice loft up there. They can use it as a, you know, office or internet room or for the master bedroom, access to it. Or an office or a sewing for the lady of the house if they like, you know. And that entrance and the canopy is completely new and within the character of the community. So any question, I'd be glad to.
Mary Jo, ladies first.
Overall, I think the design is a good fit for the neighborhood. I know that the house next door is...
Excuse me, can you speak louder? I have some hearing problem in one ear, of course.
Mic is working. Can
My
you...
middle ear is gone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me a little bit better now?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I realize that the property next door to the right of it, if you're facing this house...
Yes, that the property next door on the right, if you're facing the building on the right, was renovated, and it's nice.
And it's a larger home too, and it's on a hill, so it's a
Yeah, they
little
put
bit...
a second floor and it's renovated.
So size and mass seem to fit
Yeah.
well,
Yes,
and the
it fits
design
well.
seems to fit well. But is this artist renderings for the windows, or do you intend for these windows to be long and in this fashion?
I'm sorry,
The windows.
On the entrance?
I'll just simplify it. In my opinion, I would prefer that all the windows be 1/1 instead of side by side.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
I'll let my
I understand.
architects
That's
explain
the one
it a
in
little bit better.
the one in the back,
Like the ones in the back?
right?
Yes.
All right. No
Because I
problem.
believe that the long
That's a good
windows are
suggestion,
an
no
addition,
problem, we
yeah.
can do.
Okay.
If one of them is, two of them are like that, why not all three of them like that? Sure.
Are you
Thank you.
talking about the front too?
The whole house that
All
Yeah,
four
in the
sides.
back, one of the windows is sliding. She's right, we should make that.
But
Yeah,
they're talking
I'll
about
change that.
all the windows to be 1/1s.
Yes.
Double
Yeah.
hungs, double
Double.
hungs, not casements.
Not a sliding.
Or,
No.
right, double hungs.
Yes, of course.
I just think it's appropriate.
It's a very
because-
good comment.
That's easy to change, it's no problem.
And I defer to my right.
Yes. Oh, well, I've had last, John.
Okay, Mr. Garib, I also would say that I believe the windows, as put forth by Ms. LaFrance, that is a good suggestion. I think it is conforming much better with the age of the house, the neighborhood, whatever. I do congratulate you for taking a very serious problem and making some very
course.
intricate changes to
Thank you.
save it. God
Yeah,
bless
The
you.
windows is a good suggestion, I should have done that.
Mark?
My question, and it probably will lead to a comment, is related to the reconfiguration of how the garage and the stair from on the street get to the front door now. It looks like you're currently it kind of meanders up from the driveway and then walks up to the front door, but it looks like you're
Right,
changing
one
that.
step is from the driveway, two step. See, I try to make it all two steps so I don't need a railing, and only railing on the wall side, not in the other side. And two steps from the driveway up to a platform, then for 12 steps up to the house.
Okay.
And every of those steps are only two, with a 3'6" space, then 2 steps, 3'6", 2 steps, 3'6". So we eliminate the railing on one side, but the other side I have to put the railing because of the wall, the retaining wall for the garage, for the parking.
Right, and I think my main comment related to that is if you look at the existing front elevation, the way the grade meets the sidewalk, the stairs is somewhat hidden, so it doesn't look, it shrinks the building, so the building doesn't look quite as vertical from the street. And I understand it will be obviously much more vertical with the second story, but It's just a different proportion that we're creating, at least the way I'm interpreting the front elevation. And I was wondering if there's any way to keep as much of that grade as it comes down to the sidewalk in place. So the front door, I like the idea of if you're gonna have if the cutout for the garage should be as, in my mind, as small as possible. So the front door feels like it's sloping down to the sidewalk
Nice.
as much as possible. Right now, if you look at the existing street view, you can easily see how the house meets the sidewalk and meets the street in a way that looks very natural. And
Well,
I don't want to be staring at a bunch of retaining walls.
I don't think you can see where the street, because the sidewalk or the stairwell comes out onto the driveway.
In the new design?
Yes, in the new design also.
Is there something that I'm missing here?
I think
Yeah,
you
I
need,
was
you need to,
wondering that too.
what you have to do is look at the plan view.
So if you look at the
Where's the
site
plan
plan, you
view?
can see that the stairs are accessible from the
I don't think
driveway,
it's
so
in the package.
up here.
Yeah, I didn't see a plan in the package.
Yeah,
It
we don't
was,
have
it
a
was
plan
the
view.
first, kind of the first exhibit on the
Oh.
exhibit, well,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry. It's about the
Oh, it's in the exhibits.
fourth
Okay, I missed that.
page in the second part,
Okay, so
second
that'll be
pack.
helpful. So it's still, okay, so the grass area will come down to the sidewalk still?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to preserve that as much as possible. I know you've lengthened that to,
Sure.
I think it's important that just to kind of minimize the feel from the garage up and make the entranceway to the top of the second story and top of the roof feel more as the house as opposed to from the base of the garage. to the top.
Can I just make up, I'm not an architect, but what I was thinking is, maybe if it were made a little wider, in other words, if it continued over to the right, because right now it looks fairly, at least to me, it looks fairly skinny. If you were to add a little depth going across the front of the house, make it wider, I wonder if that might not help, and you could then just change your pillars.
Yeah, we can make that. This is right now is 4 feet wide. We can make that up to 6 foot wide.
No, I just meant aesthetically.
Up
To
to
me,
the column,
it would look
from
more,
the column to column.
it would look more
Yeah, of
substantial.
course, it's more expensive, but it looks better too. I don't mind doing that, but he has to spend money.
It's true. It's
Yeah,
true.
of course, it looks much nicer if it's column to column, so from this column to here. That's what they,
That to me would add, Mark, more proportionality, but I'm not sure I'm addressing what your concern was.
Yeah, I think it would help. It's a difficult,
I think it's, the way it's rendered kind of, I mean, obviously the stairs have to go up and meet.
to be honest, the stairs doesn't bother me as much as the retaining wall to the left of the stair and the height of that retaining wall. And if there's any way to maybe not feel like you're looking as much into the retaining wall.
Soften it somehow.
Soften it, yeah, if there's any, maybe terrace it
so-
back and puts a row of hedges in there, or like, so it's 2 layers. I'm looking at the site plan.
It-
I mean, it could potentially be, could that be graded more, or are you looking,
That-
so
that
you're
would-
looking to
that
get,
would- that
you're
would
looking to
move-
get a second parking space in there, correct?
Yeah.
That would move the stairs over,
Yeah, I mean,
so it wouldn't be centered, I mean, it's not centered on the door right now, but that, then the stairs would be under the bay window area.
no, it's not as much that, it's more the, I mean, if the stairs stayed where it stayed, I'm talking about the retaining wall directly, if you're looking at the A1 plan, directly plan below the stair, where the new driveway for the new parking space is. that seems like a pretty big retaining wall that's being
What-
built there.
What if you put a
That's-
faux
I mean-
window or some feature in there?
I don't know.
The retaining wall is to the left of the stairs.
If you look,
Can
yeah, if
you-
you're looking at the elevation to the left of the stair, right?
Can you do that, Jasmine, on the screen? I think you're trying to do it, but now they've shrunk our picture.
Yeah, that,
So you're looking for the,
I'm looking between the garage door and the stair.
That's, I mean,
Is
that's
that-
like a wall for the house. That's not a retaining wall. The retaining wall is parallel to the driveway.
This is a new
It's
CMU.
part of the foundation.
Go on.
There's a
Right.
planter area there in front of it, though. It's pulled back from the,
Oh, I see what you mean.
if I'm looking at A1.
Right, you're correct.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather it be part of the house, and then you could open up the house there. Put a window or
There's a
something there.
retaining wall here.
you're talking about
I
the-
stand corrected. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's my only comment right now, is if there's any way to soften that so you're not staring at just a blank wall there. I mean, my first thought was to terrace it down a little bit, but then you probably won't have enough space to park. So I understand why you're doing it. I just don't have a, is there any way to get rid of the, no, that doesn't, never mind, because the entry is right there, so that doesn't work either. I don't have a solution, that's my issue right now.
Yeah, I saw that too, Mark, and I didn't know how to express it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Dean?
I agree with generally everything that's been said so far. Mary Jo's idea of the double hungs, I think you already are in
Yes,
agreement with.
yeah, take care of that.
Chris's thought of making the stairs wider was a big issue for me. Right now, what you currently have at the job site, excuse me, at your house, is the stairs are not a prominent feature. They're very casual and downplayed. I know you're trying to widen the driveway, and I understand that, and I'm not saying don't do that. But what's there now de-emphasizes the stairs, which I think is a good thing. Here, however, you are placing the stairs prominent and very much a feature, yet it looks too thin. That's why I like Chris's idea of widening it. But here's another thought along the same lines is, and then Mark's idea of could we terrace it like it currently is, where it's not a big giant wall, so you can terrace it. Well, one possible solution is, what if you took the staircase and looking at the front elevations, took the stairway and moved it over to the right. Currently, right now, it's not really, even though it's setting up a promenade, a very strong line, it's not really going towards anything. It's not on center with the front door, and it's not on center with the bay. So it's kind of like setting up an important vista, an important path, but it's not really going to anything. There's nothing at the end of it. So based on that, if you move the stair to the right and centered it on the bay, then essentially you're centering it on an object that you're walking up towards, which then, because it would be to the right, would allow you to terrace down a bit towards the left, so you wouldn't have that big giant retaining wall. So it would give you a lot of the same character that you currently have. I think that might solve everybody's concern. And then the only other thing is I would recommend that your columns that you have, which I think are terrific, should be a wider diameter, more mass, have them be more reflective of the style of the house. And then lastly, all I want to do is comment, is I think you did a great job. I think it's a very nice house.
Yeah,
I think
sure. There's no problem.
Very nice to the streetscape.
Sure.
Yeah. Mr. Garib, I agree. Can you hear me okay? No, I guess my mic's off.
I agree on widening the columns, yeah. That's,
Okay.
of course.
I guess I've outlived, well, I got the message.
I said I'm gonna beef it up.
Okay.
Right. Your lights on.
No
Chris,
problem.
so-
My light's on, but there's nobody home. Well, the city has spoken. All right. Can you hear me, sir?
Pardon me?
I think that answers that.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. I want to commend you. I think what you did was a very elegant
Thank you, I appreciate it.
solution. I agree.
didn't know it's a historic district when I designed it. I found it later on.
But it was very,
So I
very,
worked with the staff and we changed a lot till we got it to this point, yeah.
well, very,
Worked
very.
with the staff closely.
Senor, you have an excellent man here. A beautiful, make the house much more livable, but very, very congruent. I think he's proposed an aesthetically compatible addition, and
Thank you.
from a construction standpoint, yes, it's going to cost money, but this is pretty darn efficient use of what you've got there. And I agree with the comments on the windows for sure. That I think will
Definitely,
really.
That's my mistake, I should have done that from the beginning.
And
I appreciate her suggestion.
yeah, and also on the stairwell, without breaking the pocketbook of the owner, I think you can get much more impact out of those stairs if you just, play with it a little, play with it a little bit.
I think
And the
his
same thing
recommendation.
with the columns,
It is.
because that's like your smile. Those are your front teeth there, so you want them bright. But anyway, great job, and Jasmine, welcome aboard.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Anything else for any commissioners, staff? Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, Kentland's Mansions side garden gate.
So earlier this month, I emailed all of you the gate plans for the Kentland side garden.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Adios.
The HDC approved the garden with HIST 4647 2016, or 2014, excuse me. The HDC approved a one-year extension at the October 2015 meeting. These are the approved plans, and this is what I sent you. This is the original plans for the gate. I also sent out this picture of an existing fence near where the garden will be located.
Yeah.
All of you responded, so thank you for that. And the general consensus was that the gate was beautiful, but not necessarily suited for the mansion. And the preference was for a simpler design that better matched the existing railing, which we see here, and also a gate that would be more durable. So this is what the architect sent back.
Well, that's certainly plain and durable. He split the arrow in the middle of the bullseye.
So if everyone is okay with that, that's the gate plans that we will move forward with.
Sure. Well, does the city own the mansion?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you all satisfied with it?
I
mean,
think it's functional, very
I mean,
functional, and it's not going to catch any
Yeah,
bride's
well,
dress on it.
As
so.
Courvoisier said, functionalism is art. So but
I personally would like to see a little bit more detail, I'm just gonna say
Yeah,
it out
it's
loud.
pretty stark.
I submitted, time-appropriate gates for that time period for the building and so forth, and of those choices, there were some simpler ones that were still,
You sent some?
I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see that in the email.
oh yeah, and there are attachments to her
Yeah.
email,
Okay.
Yeah.
and they were very cool. I mean,
Yeah, but some of them were really ornated, some of them weren't so ornate. I have to admit, I would like to see just a tad more flourish on that. Especially because it's entering a formal garden. It looks like we're entering a little park or something, but not a formal garden. Sorry guys, but that's my opinion on that. Maybe something at the top that also won't catch gowns. Like a couple of
Dean?
curly cues.
Yeah, I agree. The design should have some more character to it. It does not have to be as, I mean, stylistically, of the original design, the style was what I had a big concern with, not so much the ornateness of it. It just didn't seem like it was the proper style or the detailing.
Yeah.
But this one is almost like the pendulum swung the completely opposite
yeah, we've
way.
gone from Rococo to Spartan.
It looks
Yeah.
exactly like the kind of gate you would open to go into a hotel pool.
Or jail,
Yeah.
that's a jail door.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
not-
or like a
exercise
service
yard, the jail.
entry.
Yeah,
like
right,
that.
exactly,
Yeah, so
exactly.
I think the architect should use some things that are stylistic
So,
too.
so do you really want, here's the thing, for the weddings, do you really want the bride and the groom, oh my God, they're locking the door behind me, I'm in my prison cell for life.
We have
The
lawyers
architect's
here,
not
we can
watching.
help them.
We'll have divorce lawyers handing out cards.
Well, the
Sorry,
architect-
guys, I've been away too long.
The architect, based on his original design, certainly has talent and creativity, so I would recommend that he uses that, but just have it more stylized towards the house.
I know we're going with the railing, but we all know that railing probably was installed in the 70s or something. It's not really, that's why I chose examples from the time period when the mansion was built to
Right.
share, so that they could use those
Did you forward
designs
those
as
to the
an
architect?
appropriate guide.
I sent that email a day before I went on vacation for a week, so I think the response was after, or we responded to him before we got your, even
Right.
got your
Oh,
email.
okay, so maybe forward and see if
Yeah.
he's interested in having it.
Well,
What-
you know,
what kind?
ultimately, you know, Trudy, it's obviously up to the city, but it just seems to me they could have a little more style. But the other just, it just didn't seem congruent at all to
He would-
the
he wants
mansion
that Graceland
or the
with the cross
historicity of the
guitars.
place.
It looked more like an Art Deco style with the circles and everything, which wouldn't be period appropriate for that design of that building. Oops, sorry, thank you.
Okay, is mine on
Is
now,
his
Chris?
on now?
Am I?
Okay.
Okay, well, he's gone anyway.
So I think consensus is more detail, but just not the same level,
Yeah.
same type of detail as the previous detail.
The style, change the style to be more suited towards the house style.
And time period and so
Right.
forth.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Anything else? Then moving on. Now, proposed lending library boxes. All
Okay.
right.
We would also like your input on the little library proposed for the B&O station by the Parks and Rec Department. This is a photo of the libraries at Constitution Gardens. They allow people to drop off books and take books as they please. Staff feels that it's such a minor addition to the property that it would not require a historic area work permit, but we wanted to see what you think. Here's the location they proposed for it. Here's the train station. Here's the museum. So in the middle courtyard there.
Right.
They'd also like to put one at the Arts Barn in Kentland's Mansion, but I think we found a location that's off-site in between those two that wouldn't be on a designated property.
Huh?
By the gate.
Well, I'll let the other commissioners bat first, but we had somebody do this in Washington Grove. Well, actually, let me state it now. I think it's a wonderful idea, but here's the key thing. They found in Washington Grove, unless it's built in such a way with enough overhang of the roof and whatnot, after you've had a couple of rains, the door swells, this and that happens. So unless you're prepared to go in and give it a lot of maintenance, however it's built, make sure it's got some pretty good rain protection and so forth, because it's been a wonderful idea and all the adults and kids have used it, but we're forever having to go over and plane a door and jack a hinge or something.
I think it's a great idea, and I would like the city to consider designs that might reflect similarities to the historic sites already in Old Town. Maybe even train cars or
Yeah.
something. That could be really fun.
I think the city should expand the program, put them in a lot more places.
Sure.
It really is, and you know, we are really on the map thanks to Judd with the book fair. I mean, and our mayor, I'm sure, will be highly disposed toward this plan.
I agree with everybody's comments. I have nothing else to add.
Yeah, I like them. I think it's a great idea. My first thought was it would be nice if there's a possibility to have them custom designed to a little bit better reflect the surroundings, like near the railroad station, something like that would be really nice. And each, give the character for each of the areas. It might just be too much for the city to take on. But if that's a possibility, that would be great. I think they're terrific, and I like the side panels. They're very descriptive. You don't need to know much about it. It's self-explanatory. I like that.
That was a great idea.
That's all I have.
All right. Anything else at all from staff? Anything from the commissioners? Again, let me start with our returned veteran here, Mooney and all,
I have nothing else, thank you.
and our beloved Vice.
Let's go home.
Okay, Mark?
Just glad to see John back.
Me
Yes.
too.
Amen.
Not half as glad as John is to be there.
Amen. Dean, anything for you?
Nope.
All right, I have two things, but I'll keep them brief. One, in today's paper, the Post, I don't know if you all read, in Poolsville, about the log cabin.
No.
All right, well, I have it here, I'll leave it. And, but the gist of it was, they had a quite old dwelling, it was all covered, but it was an 1870 cabin, built by a freed slave. And some new owners had it and were gonna knock it down, and word of this got out because they were starting the new African American Museum, and so the curator heard about this, and the initial offer had been, you may want to come to it's completely filled with artifacts, and you may want to come and see something from the museum. And being a pretty bright and inventive guy, he said, heck with the artifacts, how about, if you're really going to knock this thing down, can we have it and rebuild it? They said yes, and that's what they've done. So I have it here, and I personally have dismantled, moved, reassembled cabins, but it's pretty cool.
I can send the link out to everyone.
Okay,
Great, thanks.
All right, it's just a great thing. Second thing, I represent us, you, and this is a hell of an event. So I did send out something before. What I'd like to do is leave a flyer or two, and Chris, maybe ask if you could make copies, get them around.
Sure.
Too. I want to make sure that John's speaking and some of the other people saying, please do come, support the effort, but it's a lot of fun. Clayton's is the world's oldest continuing crab processing plant. I did not realize really how cool it was until our first event last year. It's on a little tributary that runs into the bay. The boats come in with the crabs in the net, and there's a gigantic, like a silice or a slide. So they drop the crabs in there, and they come down, and they come into a building with a concrete floor, and everything in there is stainless steel. They have these long stainless steel counters with things, and they have these pull-down things that you see in commercial kitchens where you spritz them with water, and then all these aluminum chairs. And they're all marked with people's, this is Dolores's and this is Jose's. And so the last year, for the first time, and they're willing to do it again, they closed the shop at noon, they hosed it all down, and so they made up as many crabs as we wanted. And, we had wine and soft drinks and beer and this and that at a nominal cost. And it was a heck of an event. So if you like crabs, which my wife does, and there are also other things for the kids, there's going to be hot dogs and corn and blah, blah, blah. So would really like to have some folks there. I think it'd be fun. Kids are welcome. Our chair has two sons, and they were our helpers last year. And so I really encourage you, if you like crabs or you want to support a good cause, please come join us. So, Chris, if you can get that out far and wide, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
And that's all I have. Other than, again, it is such a joy to see you back, my friend.
Here, here.
Delighted to be here.
And it's, I do want to say one other thing to the staff and the fellow commissioners here.
I wanted to show you something after we're offline.
Really, thank you. I mean, you very hardworking, intelligent, thoughtful bunch of people, and I just appreciate your partnership, and as well as the staff, and so just thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
4 more years.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I so
Yeah.
move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.